Well, what's up, guys? Ben here, bringing you another video today. The Major 2 qualifiers are going to start tomorrow, so I wanted to do my Week 1 prediction videos. Let's dive in. Take a look at the matches we have on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. A bit of an interesting schedule for the stage, and I'll get to that in a second. I'll let you know my predictions for 8 matchups we have over the course of 3 days this weekend. All right, so as we move to another stage where there are 5 weeks of qualifiers, this one's a little bit more spread out than past qualifiers. We will have a bunch of Fridays with 2 matches, 3 on Saturday and 3 on Sunday. So they're shorter days, great. But they are going to have some snoozy Fridays where we're done by 6 because there's gonna be a couple of 3-0s. But at least people can kind of live their lives over the winter, I guess. You know, we don't have these 7:30 matchups. I'm not doing the flank till 11 p.m. So I'm not the one complaining about that. But anyway, let's dive in. We're going to start with Friday. We're gonna start on the left here with Toronto versus the Miami Heretics. Interesting matchup. Obviously, Miami, kind of a very 50-50 team. Don't know what to expect from them on a given day, but there's some motivation here. You know, Vickle and Scrap are friends, former teammates. So there's, you know, there's some reason for people to get up and be motivated for this one. For Toronto, they just won an event, and I don't really see them sort of fading. Historically, when they've been really good at events, they don't necessarily just fall off afterwards. I don't really know. I want to give Miami a map, and I think I will, but I do also think this might be a 3. So I'm being nice and giving Miami a map, but I think Toronto's going to take this one pretty clean. Even if it goes for map 4, I don't think I'm going to be super worried for Toronto that they're going to lose this one in any shape or form. All right, next up we have the New York Subliners versus Carolina Royal Ravens. I'm very curious to see what the fans are predicting on this one. 80-22 New York. Okay, I mean, Carolina did beat them a couple of weeks ago. I don't expect New York to lose the rematch on this one. The only thing is, and why I'm not going to make it a 3-0 is I just don't know with this New York team. They have to get it going this stage. They have a lot of issues with the map pool, with the respawn. They started losing SCDs in the major when they were looking good, the game mode. They got to get it going. This Carolina team is way less skilled than them. New York should beat them on skill alone. I'm going to give Carolina like one random map. This is the beginning of the stage. But I think New York takes this one to start off 1-0 for the stage. All right, Carolina get that last match, first match, rebound against the Boston Breach. This one could be kind of a low-key sort of banger because I actually think, you know, both teams are kind of unknowns right now. Carolina, from a slaying standpoint, against this Boston team. Carolina's not a great search team, but neither is Boston. Map pools you look at, there's some interesting overlapping maps. These two might play. Are we going to see Rio? I actually think this one, just for funsies, I'm going to say Boston take it into game 5. I know, Ben, you're going to say, Boston game 5. Why are you taking them? They suck. Carolina sucks at search. So that's why I'm doing that. But I think this one will be a heater, and I think Boston will take it in a tough 0-2 start. After a day and a half, I guess, they're just sort of done at 4 p.m. on Saturday, but that's how it goes. Miami versus FaZe. This is a pretty fun one. Haven't played yet this season. I can see Miami, if they're up for this one with their teamwork. Same when we saw FaZe against LAG. Sometimes I think they can give FaZe some trouble in a respawn, so I'm going to take it 3-1 for FaZe. I can see Miami stealing 1, but again, getting a split, and that's how it's going to go. All right, next up we have Seattle versus New York. This is Seattle with Brezzy coming in. I don't even know if Brezzy's in Canada or the States yet, so curious about that. New York, obviously, we predict them to beat Carolina. I'm going to take New York 3-0 in this just because they're a good search team and Seattle's a bad respawn team, and this is a potential 20-minute series because of that. In fact, I'm so confident that I'm using one of my boosts. And actually, let me scroll down. Now, there are other matchups we should use our boosts on the next 2 weeks. We're not going to do that. I was thinking about it, but I do think there's going to be a DoorDash. Vegas and LAG. So on paper, I think LAG should win this. And I think the fan vote agrees. And when they played last, LAG beat them. My only, at the major, mind you, my only thing is LAG is not a great search team. Vegas can be a good search team at times. New map pool, SMG kind of favored meta. Neither team's like super deep at that position, so I don't know what that really means. I'm going to take LAG in a game 5 in this one. This one is, I think, a little bit closer than what the fans are predicting. I actually think this is more 60-40 than it is, what is it, 75-25? I don't know about that, but I just don't like Vegas in game 5s. We haven't seen much from them being able to close that series this year, and I don't think dropping Stanley for Geo is going to improve that in my eyes. the Minnesota Rocker versus Toronto Ultra. They did play at the major and Toronto dispatched them pretty quickly. I think for Minnesota to have any chance of this series is going to be taking a control, taking an S&D and seeing what happens in that game 5. I think that I am going to have Toronto 3-0. I just don't. All of that aside, I don't. Let's say Toronto play iffy against Miami. They're not going to have back-to-back bad matchups. They're going to lock in for Rocker. Toronto's got a history on some of these Sunday matches. They're sometimes not really showing up over the last couple of years, but I think they will for this one. I think they'll dispatch Minnesota. But if they're not on their best day, then this one could be pretty interesting. I just can't pick against Toronto, man. All right, last matchup. I'm sure if you're Optic annoyed that you have to wait all the way until the end of the day on Sunday to play your matchup. I don't know why it's scheduled this way. I think it's cheese. I think CDL doesn't know what they're doing sometimes with the scheduling. And I think they, especially Optic, gets punished too much by them trying to always put them in prime time. I think if you also scroll through as well, like there are a couple of teams. Optic and FaZe, they kind of screwed by this stage, next stage. I think I'll make a whole nother video on that. I don't know. Anyway, Optic versus LA Thieves. Thieves, not a great respawn team. So I'm going to give 2 maps off the bat for Optic on that. Can I see Thieves stealing a map? I think so. But I think FaZe is, Optic's going to take it probably in a game 4. I just don't know with Thieves in their hard point until proven otherwise. They're going to be able to force a game 5 in the series. If they can, I think they have a chance because I don't think they're a terrible search team. Then, we've talked about Optic struggles in the game mode, so they have a chance. But I just don't see it for the Thieves team right now. I think they'll be competitive, but Optic's just a step above them in talent. But that being said, this would be a huge win for Thieves if they can pull it off. So, all right, so this is what we got. We got Toronto 3-1 over Miami. New York 3-1 over Carolina on Friday. Boston taking a game 5 over Carolina. FaZe 3-1 over Miami. And New York 3 over Seattle on Saturday. LAG taking a game 5 over Vegas. Toronto 3-0 DoorDash against Minnesota. And Optic 3-1 over LA Thieves on Sunday. I think that a couple of these 3-1s could be 3-0s, and I think I'm just being generous giving people maps, but it is what it is. We don't have a tremendous amount of parity at the top level of the CDL until otherwise. Not really sure how people at the bottom match up in any of the bottom matchups here. Carolina, Boston, Vegas, LAG, like mid-pack matchups. I have them as mixy ones, so we'll see how this weekend plays out. But all of these, top teams playing bottom teams. It wasn't great during Major 1, and I don't really see how it's going to get any better during this stage, at least right now. All right, so let me know in the comments what you guys think about my predictions. You probably hate them, so I'm curious if you all agree, disagree, whatever. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more. As always, guys, we will see you on the next one.